Hi guys, welcome to Legacy K. This is Monday night. We've got a Deathblade player versus an Aluren player. Full disclosure, the Aluren player is me. So Donghee here, I placed him 100% on the bug depths list that he'd been playing quite a bit, but apparently he got a little tired of it. And this guy, he plays too many different decks, man. Like, it's hard to pin him on something, and I never would have expected this Stoneforge Mystic package in there. Like, he will play True Name Nemesis and a bunch of Dazes and Noble Hierarchs. I knew that. And I felt like this matchup was probably pretty good, but I kept a hand with a single land and a Deathrite Shaman here, I believe, and it was a really top-heavy hand. So first off, I don't want to get wasted, and second, I don't want to lose my Deathrite Shaman. And this match was recent, so I remember exactly what was going through my head when this exchange goes on. I am thinking about days right now, and I'm thinking about if I am in just as bad of a situation if this gets dazed, if I force this and he dazes me, as if my Deathrite dies. I'm pretty sure that I have to fight over this, and if he has the daze, I'm just going to lose the game.
Am I gonna get dazed?
So I'm going to scoop up all of the cards immediately, and he's in disbelief here. He wasn't sure why I would scoop it so easily. But my thought here is that maybe he didn't watch what I exiled very closely. Maybe he doesn't think I'm on Aluren. My hand was sketchy, and I was at such a disadvantage. I just wanted to go to what I felt was a pretty favored game 2, where I have a lot of good sideboard cards, and hope to just take him down. Honestly, I'm hoping that he has sideboarded really poorly here and isn't prepared for this matchup. And I mean, when you get your Force of Will dazed, there's maybe just this flicker of shame that caused me to almost want to run out of the room screaming. So I just wanted out of that game immediately. I know for a fact that I should have looked at the top of my library to see if I ripped a land or not. If I didn't, then a scoop is fine, right? But I just wanted out of there. I want to get to game 2 and bring in Carpet of Flowers and beat him up, okay? Donghee has a Force in hand, an Abrupt Decay, and I know that he's ramping towards turn 2 Leovold or True Name Nemesis, which is really what this deck wants to be doing. If not, maybe it's Stoneforge Mystic, which is also, he can be pretty problematic. All in all, I feel good about this matchup, but we have to grind hard. But he rips the Leovold off the top.
Okay.
Oh, but didn't have a second land. So he has to dig a little bit. And he does find it. As well as a Thoughtseize. So I have to imagine that maybe he protects the Leovold on top of the library. Unless he wants to leave a lot of blue cards in his hand. And plays the Sea and Thoughtseizes his opponent. Just to see what's going on. This one was an interesting decision for me.
Make a blue.
I think when we brainstorm here, we actually hit a bunch of things which are more important than the Aluren earlier in the game. So I think what I do is I hide a Shardless Agent on top, which I want to draw and play, and allow him to strip an Aluren out of the hand. The reason I do this is because I really want to get creatures on the table, and I do not want to slam Aluren next turn into a Force of Will or find myself with a resolved Aluren and no creatures to play with it. That's just a really good recipe for disaster when you think, well, you know, I've got this card in my hand and I just want to play it, right? I just want to make sure that we've got Aluren. Those things can go really badly with a deck that's going to end of turn Leovold you. And sometimes just end of turn Stoneforge, get a Jite, slam a Leovold or a True Name all of a sudden, and then out of nowhere your combo is completely backfired. So what we'll do here is just go get a blind Shardless Agent. And I think I'm playing 3 Abrupt Decays this night. There are actually 0 dead targets for this Shardless Agent since he has permanents on board. So even one of those bad hits like Abrupt Decay won't be that bad. But he doesn't have his 3-drop on board yet. I expect it should be coming next turn, if ever. But I sort of want to get some flyers in the air. I want to get some card advantage. So let's get a Cascade trigger, and we just land Cavern Harpy, which, as you guys know, that Shardless Agent is actually not on the table yet. He's on the stack, and Cascade is going into Cavern Harpy right now. So I do not have the Shardless Agent as a target. The only targets I have are Cavern Harpy or 2 Deathrights. I think in this case I have a land drop or something, so we can just, you know, return Deathright and then play it again. It's not the greatest of situations. It's not good value, but it is what it is, and you do what you got to do.
Deathright Shaman.
And just make sure that he is not going to try to daze the Cavern Harpy or something, or daze the Shardless.
Go ahead.
So we missed a land drop. We're going to leave Deathright up instead of replaying it. Maybe I was leaving up Brainstorm mana. Maybe it didn't occur to me. I'm not sure. I think Donghi here is a little bit wary about slamming the Leovold and only having Brainstorm to pitch to force, but I think that's okay. I mean, he's got to start attacking, right? And Leovold is great. That card is a ball buster. I'm playing 3 of them in the main deck in this Aluren configuration. I know how good it is. So here my plan is to start chipping with Cavern Harpy every turn, and I've got the Deathright advantage. So as long as I'm not dying too quickly, my clock is actually almost as good as his, and I'm a little ahead. Really, with that Cavern Harpy, we're looking for a Baleful Strix, but you take what you can get.
Deathright Shaman.
And this clock is just plain better than his. Especially since Leovold can get chumped by Shardless at some point, as opposed to if he was attacking with a big old like 5/3 exalted True Name Nemesis.
Right.
So now he takes Force down because I did not try to play an Aluren or something. He's behind on Deathrights to the point where I don't think he can ever get value out of them in this game.
Okay.
But he chooses to keep it in his hand. Maybe the others were just lands, I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, we always take the 5. Because if for some reason he does not play a True Name after combat somehow, then we can also get in there with a Shardless Agent. And for Bug Aluren, I know that I label this deck Aluren. I know that there are some players who think that the Imperial Recruiter or Palace Guard version with Arctic Merfolks and everything in it is superior, so they would probably like me to label this Aluren as bug or something, but honestly, I feel like this deck is it's just a bit better. It's playing less bad cards.
Fetch.
All right, so with a True Name on board, chumping is out, a Shardless Agent attacking is out, but with 2 Deathrights, we can get to work on the graveyard, and now we've got 2 in the air and 2 Deathright activations a turn. If we have to, he can also... maybe we can attack with a Shardless Agent that will die, and that'll gain us 2 life at some point. He actually neglected to play his own Deathright with his open mana this turn. Perhaps that's an oversight. But perhaps, like me, he also thought that he's too far behind on the Deathrights for this game to ever catch up with it. This is one of those games where I think that Bug Aluren, I can just play a Cavern Harpy or 2. I can attack, recast, try to trigger the Shardless Agent again, that sort of thing, and just get a ton of value. And we're probably going to try to live or win without Aluren ever resolving. At this point, though, we're going to get a little bit blown out by an Abrupt Decay, which he's left up. Oh, that would be why. That would be why he didn't cast the Deathright Shaman. It doesn't matter enough. He probably would cast it if he had nothing else to do, but he's going to leave. He's going to leave Abrupt Decay mana up to do just this sort of thing. So Shardless Agent will disappear, meaning that our only targets for the bounce are Cavern Harpy or one of the 2 Deathrights. This doesn't really affect me much, just means that we have to main phase one of the Deathright activations. And we'll leave the black up. So
Remove my Shardless Agent. Gain 2 life.
Gain 2 life, bounce the tapped Deathright to hand. Play the Deathright with our remaining Tropical. This all seems pretty straightforward. And probably just get attacked for 5 again over and over, but I think that our clock is better. Even though, man, a True Name with 2 Noble Hierarchs, it's interesting to be able to beat a clock like that. Which can be very hard to do. I'm winning this game off the backs of 2 Deathrights, I guess.
5? Alright. Okay. Remove Abrupt Decay. You're at 8.
So he's got just about 1 draw step, right? And he is still holding Force. Perhaps he had to force the Cavern Harpy on its way back down again.
I'm playing so many Leovolds too. I love the card. Comment?
Which means he should have kept Brainstorm in hand, or he should have just not drawn poorly. Which is what we should all do.
Baleful Strix?
We found Baleful Strix, which cannot draw a card. I think I cast that just in case something a little weird happened, because the clock is now what? I had to use one of my black, so I just hold up both Deathrights, attack for 3 in the air, and then have Deathright superiority next turn. Yeah, so he decides that the fetch doesn't change the clock all that much. Oh, right. So this is a fine exchange for me. This was a 1/1, and we traded a card for a card. I couldn't draw because of a Leovold anyway. I still feel slightly ahead. It's very close.
Go ahead.
Oh, there's our second black source, just to make sure. And because it's a land, he doesn't make us play it out.
Oh, Dead Red buddies.
So thank you, Mr. Deathred. Rode on your back really hard. Sideboarding here is I'm bringing in 2 Cavern Harpies.
Oh, okay. And you shuffle.
Or sorry, I'm bringing in 2 Carpet of Flowers. I am maybe shaving a couple of copies of Force of Will and relying on the fact that he has to keep all of his forces in, but I can just play 2-for-1 card advantage cards. Both of us just want to slam Leovold here, I think.
Yep.
And if this is a Underground Sea, so I already feel like I'm on the draw and he's going to have a turn 1 death, right? And we're just always going to be behind.
Good.
We also have to worry about days this entire time. So from the Aluren side, not only can you not guarantee forcing through your combo against this Days Force deck until it's super grindy late game when you're both kind of top decking, I want to try to play around Days as much as possible. But we're already on the back foot here, for sure. I know that his brainstorms are in Korean, and that's cool and all, except that there's no black border Korean brainstorm. It's impossible to get, so I don't play them. I just play like the Mercadian Masks. I don't know, man. I don't know if I can get behind white bordered anything that isn't a duel. Maybe I should just replace all my duels with FBBs and then just really talk down to people. Maybe I'd sell my car. Buy a couple Underground Seas. Carpet. So we're going to pay for Carpet with Days mana up. I think I kept this hand off the back of Carpet. I know that it's extremely important.
Second main.
So generate a mana.
Each main. Second main. 1 blue. Blue. Brainstorm.
Start leveraging this 1 to 2 to 3 mana per turn. But his build is interesting. Like, he can now grab Savannah. And he's also just got Mana Dork, so he doesn't have to play into land on board as much as some other decks do. Like, I've played against some Stoneblade variants where I ended up making maybe 20 extra mana over the course of the game because of Carpet and just really just running over them. It is still quite a good card, but you know, he has some non-islands that he can get, which is just great. Sometimes with Carpet though, you're on the play, game 2, you slam it turn 1, and their hand is like Trop, Underground, Volcanic against some decks, you know, and they have no way around it. They're just going to start giving you 1, 2, 3 extra mana per turn, and then that makes their Pierces and Dazes just ridiculous by the end. It's a lot of mana, and we are making a Jace. All of a sudden, this game is looking very difficult. What is his hand? Does he have the days?
Okay.
He does. He has it.
Fully.
This is a tough position. I think finding a Leovold is very important here. I think also, yeah, since we've already been wasted off one land, and we know he's trying not to play any more islands, we're going to grab a basic because we have Carpet for mana generation and a little bit as well. But here, I think my line of thought is play one out of two of my Brainstorms directly into Daze just to get it out of his hand. I'm misrepresenting that this spell is more important than it is, I think. Yeah.
Draw.
And I'm really happy about that Daze. I remember clearly. Except for the fact that he picks up his island, which at the moment, I believe in my main phase, I'm like, oh yeah.
Misty. Fetch.
Possibly because of the constraint, by missing his Underground Sea on board this turn, I might be forced into getting this black mana here. Now we don't have to worry about another Daze. And I think his hand is without blue card for that force. He's going to have a Stoneforge soon, and that could be really difficult to deal with. But he's got Jace on board. Things are looking quite difficult. And there's a true name. I wonder if he's supposed to Abrupt Decay the Carpet or just play a true name. It's hard to say. Stoneforge actually also creates a shuffle here, and he can afford to cast two drops this turn. I would be inclined to put some bad cards back here. Abrupt Decay and... Nah, I think you have to keep your Underground Sea, no matter what. I think we have to cast Abrupt Decay and Stoneforge this turn. It seems quite good. There's our fourth mana again. And he's going to get aggressive. He's not going to kill this Carpet. Leovold or true name? Leovold or true name?
Okay. Alright. Cool. Untap. First main, don't use it. Attack. Hit Jace. Second main, carpet you. Make blue mana. Land for turn. Try to cast Leovold.
So the Leovold shuts off Jace. And I think he has Force Leovold in hand, but he's so wary of Aluren that he can't do anything about this Leovold. That's what I think is happening. From the Aluren side, it's... I mean, the true name is scary, but we've now dealt with the Jace pretty much. I guess not. I mean, if he bounces the Leovold and we just get one card, and then he can brainstorm or something, it seems pretty good.
Four?
But for a turn, we've got plenty of time. Oh, never mind. There's actually... The death rights make a fast clock. He's gonna go for... Yep. Nothing to be done about that.
Okay.
So that unlocks his Jace. You can probably put back Stoneforge. Maybe put back Stoneforged land and then cast Stoneforge and shuffle. Or... yeah, that's what I would do. Actually, since that's a Savannah, he gets a land drop this turn. Oh, that's a Tundra. He doesn't want me to get another mana next turn, but it might be... he might just have to do it. The problem from his side is he will never know just how important that one extra mana is or is not. He just can't know. But I will tell you this, I was extremely happy to see that Tundra.
Okay.
Because my hand has been Aluren. I think I was holding Aluren, Cavern Harpy, Force.
May I brainstorm?
So this turn we go down to 11. Then we're at a virtual 7 plus 4 from the death right. We are very close to dead. It's a turn and a half, right?
Turn.
But he's tapped low. He's tapped himself low in order to get to the state where he's at.
Second main, carpet, two blue, Aluren.
So he held Force Leovold, and he's going to try to get me on... He can either force this or try to force whatever good creature. There are a couple of arguments for each. But if I have the Force here and we fight over it...
Good.
You know, if he lets this resolve and then tries to force my creature, now that I've got, like... Maybe I cast Cavern Harpy and now don't have another blue card in hand or something. No, we gotta leave Daze mana up. You don't ponder until you must. So we put a Cascade on the stack.
15? Dun, dun. 15.
Casting.
So that was a very poor hit.
Does this resolve?
We really can't let him untap. So we just have to go for it.
Target you 2.
There's the Jace kind of taken care of, even if we can't go off.
Cavern Harp.
All right. So this is what he must fight over. It's just ridiculous. Just had it all. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We're gonna be back with another match in just a second.
와, 핸드 다 있었어.